Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Eric, and I just wanted to do a quick intro. Today we talked about my car accident again briefly, just because I really had it on my mind. Just death, and it was pretty heavy for me. And so I think that you might find that to be interesting. I definitely found it to be interesting. We also talked about prostitution, open relationships, and diet again, and just the vegan debate. So check it out. All right. Thanks for listening. Have a good one. Hey, what up, everybody? It's Eric and candra.
Whoop, whoop.
And today is Friday, September 28th, and it was a pretty good week.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird because this week,
Seemed like heaven compared to last week.
I guess, but
Just kidding.
no, it was pretty stressful, and it seemed like it was really weird, and I'm not the only person that said this, but it seemed like this week went by really fast, but also dragged, which seems like a contradiction, but it was like every day for me dragged, but now it was like it went by really quick.
But it was a blur. And It
Yep.
was stressful and kind of intense.
Yes,
And a full moon.
that's what I hear.
Okay, I'm not trying to be woo-woo, but I do sleep less around the full moon.
That's
Just based
scientifically
on,
proven.
yeah, it's just based on light. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes total sense. You produce less melatonin when there's lighter lights. That's why all of my lights in my house have a black tape over it, because it fucks with
but
my
that
sleep.
kind of light that you get from the moon or the sun is a whole different thing.
Oh,
that
totally. It's
penetrates.
very intense. Yeah.
So I wanted to record. Normally we don't record on Friday nights, but last night was like I went out to the Explorer, which is the vehicle that I wrecked last week. For those of you that didn't listen to the last podcast, I rolled my car, and I went out there last night to grab a couple things out of it. I opened the door and I just saw that, like, my blood on the passenger window, you know. And when I was looking at my blood, it just made me realize, I mean, because I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, you know, and so I hit my face against the window, the passenger side window, and that's obviously because the car was flipping. And then when I first got in the accident, my hat was stuck in the passenger side, like in the sill, you know, the window was rolled up and the
And your bill was in there?
Yeah, the bill of the hat was stuck in the windowsill. And I don't know, like the blood on the window, and just it kind of reminded me of the situation, you know? And I just thought, like, holy shit, if the window was down, I would have been either ejected through it because my face hit it, so which means my head was there, right? So as the vehicle,
And you hit it hard enough to actually injure yourself, so you were flying, so you
Right.
would have went out.
I either would have went out or at least partially out because of the momentum, like because of how fast the car was moving, rolling. I would have either went completely out and had the car completely crush me, or just partially out and the car would have just crushed my head, you know. Or, you know, broken my neck or something like that. And I don't know, it just like, it hit me really heavy, you know. I was just thinking, like, that whole experience, when it happened, it didn't bother me at all, you know. It was just like, I feel like I've been through enough intense shit in my life that something like that just seemed really trivial. You know, it was like I rolled my car, big deal. And when it happened, I was like, fuck, now I have to buy a new car, you know? And so that was my concern, was buying a new car. And then last night when I saw the blood on the window, and not to mention my father, I think hearing my dad say the thing about, you know, like, you're really lucky to be alive, you know, like, people die all the time from rolling their car. And he's rolled his car and was stuck underneath it, was pinned underneath it. So him telling me
that, trust me, it could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse. And then just like when I got home that night, I think that was the same night. I got home last night and was looking at it, and I'm just thinking, damn, dude, like, that's like one more like thing that I've done in my life that I just got really lucky on. Because I didn't do it. I didn't get anything. I mean, I got maybe a little headache afterwards, you know, and that was it. Cut on my face. But
yeah,
it was like one more thing that I escaped that I really shouldn't have escaped. And that's really spooky.
Yeah,
like,
it's intense.
It is intense.
You have like that moment. I mean, like, because everyone knows life is temporary, and everyone knows it's precious, and they lose someone. But like when you lose someone or you come close to losing yourself, it's like more real.
Yeah. Well, and so then I started thinking about like, because then I was like, it kind of just caught me off guard, just the feeling of it. And so I had to sit down. So I sat down in there for a minute and just thought about it. Like, I thought about, like, I kind of recreated it in my head. Thought about, like, you know, like the car rolling. And then I thought, I like visualized, like, with my eyes closed, I visualized like me getting crushed by the car, you know? And it fucking freaked me out. Like the idea, like, I could have died. And, you know, and death is so, it's like this like weird looming thing that's in the background at all times. Everybody's always thinking about it. It's like what drives fear, and it's always there. And I try really hard to be honest about the fact that eventually I'm going to die, you know, but you don't think it's going to be in the next moment, which in that situation, you know, my day started out normal. I was just going to go to the gym and then go to work. And that was, you know, and then all of a sudden I'm on the ground and everything changes. And it seems so obvious that, you know, someday we're going to die, but we never expect it to be that next moment. And I think that moment just almost happened, and it could have been, I could have had my window down. It could have been that easy that I had my window down and it broke, or it broke, or the window broke when I hit my head against it, you know. But or I could have just had my window down, and I have my window down all the time. I mean, most people do when they drive, but I have my windows down all the time. That morning I didn't have my windows down, so that was just like one little thing that could have been a change that could have, you know, changed the outcome of the entire situation. And that is just how every moment in life is, you know. It's like in every single moment you have the chance of dying, and it's, you know, either you live or you die in every single moment, and there's always something that can cause it or prevent it. And in that situation, it was almost unpreventable, because it was a situation that just spontaneously happened. A deer jumps out in front of the car, and I avoid it, and I flip the car, and I nearly die. And like that looming sensation of death in the background just really comes to the forefront when you look at it like that. And how then I was thinking to myself, you know, I would hope that if I died that way, it wouldn't be instant, you know, because I was thinking, if the car crushed my head, I mean, I really thought about this, you know, like if the car crushed my head, how quick would that actually kill me? Because it would probably kill me instantly. I mean, I'm assuming, you know, because it's just, you
wouldn't know what was happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that I died. And that sucks. Like, I want to know that I'm dying when I die. You know, I want, even if it's only for 30 seconds before I die, or 2 minutes, I want.
What purpose would that serve? Just curious. Just to know that you're dying?
Because I could think about, I could have that moment of reflection on my life. I'm serious. That's a really important thing for me. I want to be able to like think about you and think about, you know, the
like
small accomplishments. Yeah, just think about the accomplishments I've had, the failures that I've had. Think about the people that mean something to me. And damn, dude, see, this is making me emotional because
it's like a real like,
you know,
spiritual thing, you know.
Yeah.
Without trying to, I don't know. I mean, try to imagine being unconscious and being dead. You can't.
Yeah.
So we make up all these things to make us feel better, but like we don't know what's gonna happen. None of us do.
Right.
So it's scary.
Yeah. And you know, I just hope, I really hope that when I die, I can know that I'm dying when I'm dying. And I don't want to know 6 months in advance, like cancer or something stupid. But I want to know, I want to, like, that seems like a pretty good way to die. Like, you know, a car accident, hopefully down the road or something. But at least,
Jesus.
At least.
I don't think so. That'd be messy.
Yeah, but at least you would, like, if you had 2 minutes of really horrific pain and agony, that would be like the best way to die, because it would just give you 2 minutes of just knowing, like you would feel a life leaving your body. You would feel the blood stop flowing from your brain. You would not be able to move excrements, you know, properly. You wouldn't, like, you would know. It would be so real that your life is ending. It would just be the most intense. And
so you wouldn't just want to slip away in peace?
No, not at all.
Most people do.
I don't. They say that, but I don't think. I mean, maybe.
You want to feel what life feels like before you go.
I want to feel the worst, most agonizing. Because that, dude, I want to feel it. Like, I want to know it. You know, I want.
Such a weird, like, human thing. And it's so strange.
Yeah, I just, like, I want. It's
you
just like
be aware
everything.
And conscious.
And like, I want to soak up the most I can in the last couple minutes, because that's it. After that, you know what I mean? I'm never gonna have that experience again. So it's like,
and even if you did, you wouldn't know it. So
sure, yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, I tend not to. I'm, you know, obviously a materialist, so I tend not to think that anything will happen after that. But just the idea of, you know, just knowing, I just
none of that matters.
It does, because this is all that matters.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is the only thing that matters.
Yeah. And so it's like the idea, like, I just envision, like, I'm sitting in my Explorer last night and I'm just thinking, man, the car rolls over me, or I hit my head really hard and I'm dying from blood loss, and I'm trying to, you know, because there's no cell phone service where I was at. So it was like, I'm trying to crawl or something to get cell phone service, and I just lose blood. And as you're losing blood, you're like losing energy, you know, and you can't breathe as well. And then all of a sudden you're slowly losing life, consciousness. And you know you're losing consciousness, and that's it. And I know it sounds crazy.
No, it doesn't sound crazy.
But it was just, for me last night, this was flashing before my eyes, because I just experienced that. Like, I just experienced rolling in the car. I experienced waking up because I got knocked out, and waking up and not knowing what the fuck just happened, but knowing what just happened. Like this weird, you know, like, am I okay? Am I alive? You know, like, what happened? I got knocked out. How long have I been knocked out? Am I going to be able to walk after this? Like, the whole thing, when I woke up, was just so, you know, it was just like, I don't know, it didn't hit me like it did last night, you know, for some reason.
I think it's a lot to process, and I think when I first talked to you, I actually said this out loud. I'm like, he's in shock, I can tell. Yeah. Because the way you're so creepy about it too. You're like, I'm staring at it, and I'm like, oh, okay. Are you, you know, just trying to like kind of meet you at your level and stay calm with you. Because I was freaking out too. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And you were so eerily calm. And yeah, I think it probably took a few days for it to set in. Maybe after you talked to your dad and realized you could have, you know, not seen him anymore or whatever.
Yeah. And it was
pretty
just
intense, man.
Yeah. I think that the other thing obviously is if you were with me and something happened to you, I mean, fuck, dude. That was another thing that went through my head last night. It was just, if something happened to you and not to me, I mean, that would be like, I could not even handle that emotionally. I would be freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, no, I couldn't either if it was roles reversed.
Yeah.
Like, there's no
the whole idea of that just drives me crazy.
So we'll try to die together if we ever get in some intense, crazy car accident.
Yeah, like
I'd prefer that.
Yeah. Who was it that Zach and CJ?
Yeah,
Zach and CJ. Yeah. That was, even though it sucks they died so young, that way of dying, and for those of you that don't know, that aren't friends with us or whatever, they were in a vehicle accident 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Maybe a little, about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were on a head-on collision and both died in the accident.
So sad.
But I mean,
It's
that
just,
seems like a...
I mean, it can be taken at any moment.
Yeah.
And it's a huge reflection on your life right now and wanting to be in the present moment. And being in the present moment means being honest while you're there. It's like, do I like my job? Am I doing what I want to do?
That was a huge part of this too last night.
Not to judge yourself and be, negative and hard on yourself, but to just really look at it and be like, okay, how do I take the steps to make my life what I really have no regrets?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of same thing. I was thinking the same thing last night. Like, I was thinking, what if the last moment before that had happened? I mean, it wasn't, but what if it was somebody cut me off and I got angry and flipped them off, which I don't do that. But if that was the situation, I just got angry and flipped some guy off for cutting me off, something so stupid and minor, and then I flip my car and kill myself. Is that really how I want to spend the last minute of my life or 5 minutes of my life? Yeah,
and the only person who would react that way to road rage is someone who would be really unhappy.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I'm not saying being unhappy, you're at a greater risk to die. I'm just saying it's about that moment.
Right.
And
yeah,
your attitude really is a reflection of your happiness level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. At any moment, though, it can be taken just as quickly as it was given. And I don't know.
It's kind of so strange how, we celebrate life so much. And we grieve in mourn death, and we're so scared of it. And it's just this, huge thing. Both of them are. They're both huge things. It's just one's polar opposite. It's so trippy.
Yeah. And what's funny about it, though, is the cultures that seem to be, mostly religiously driven, ideologically driven, have the hardest time with death, which doesn't really make any sense, because you would think that if you were religious and you believed in an afterlife, then death would be almost a good thing.
There are definitely cultures, though, that celebrate the ancestors and the afterlife, and when someone in their tribe passes, they throw a ceremony and it's a happy moment.
Yeah.
So
I just mean Western ideology.
Yeah.
Or not even Western, but ideologically driven places. It just seems the United States is really good at repressing emotion. Any emotion, sex, death, anything like that. So these conversations of dying just don't happen. And it's really sad, because it's always in the back of your mind.
Well, and the more you understand something, the less afraid of it you are. So you would think that we would want to be talking about this and sharing our feelings and getting, that off our chest.
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks, if you're not alone too, that alone makes you feel better, that other people actually feel this way, feel scared sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
I think that sense of community is really important.
I do too. And I also think that, fear of death is ultimately, it's the thing that drives every bad decision ever. It is actually, fear of death is what kills you in a way, because, in some cases, because it gets you so stressed out,
You're willing to do anything.
Yeah, it's it's like the, at the root cause of everything, it's fear of death. And if you don't believe me on that, just backtrack anything that bothers you right now. Anything. You are, you can't afford to pay your rent. And it's like, okay, well, what's the big deal of not being able to pay rent?
Yeah, why are you stressing about that?
Yeah, why are you stressing about that? Well, I might get evicted. Okay, well, if you get evicted, what's going to happen? I won't have a place to live. Okay, well, if you're not going to have a place to live, what happens then? Well, I might have to rely on family for it. Okay, well, what's the problem with that? And it's like, if you carry that line down far enough of what the real problem is, it's the fear of death. Because if it wasn't the fear of death, then you wouldn't have fear at all. Like, it just doesn't seem rational to me to think that it could possibly, like, the fear of anything is just something that's pushed down the road, and and as you push something down the road, it just gets further and further and further into death. And that's like, because like that's
the end of it all,
right? And with the fear of not paying your rent, as an example, with the fear of not paying your rent, not paying your rent is going to always seem way more worse than it always ends up being. It's never as bad as you make it out to be. So the stress that you create in stupid situations like that is always meaningless, and then you end up getting stressed out and you create, heart disease, and then you die from heart disease or something. So
it's funny though, because it's probably like heavily influenced by evolution. Is those stressors.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, to survive, to reproduce, solely to reproduce, way back in the day.
Right. Well, that's the only I mean, if you've had a kid, you've already done your whole purpose of existence. So congratulations. You're
from a biological standpoint.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, yeah, it's really interesting.
So, I mean, trying to like realize that and not be stressed out about little things so you can actually enjoy living and communicating and being a human and doing the things you love.
And having gratitude.
The whole lesson, man.
Yeah, gratitude in every moment.
Yeah.
Trying to, at least. I
mean,
you
whole
don't
journey.
have to.
Like, that's what life is.
Right.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's really weird. And it trips me the fuck out. Like, I don't know. This last, 24 hours have been a trip because I've been really thinking about it a lot. I mean, just, I didn't really want to talk to you about it because I wanted to wait for the podcast,
Yeah.
But last night I felt so emotional about it. Like, I felt like crying. It was crazy. And it wasn't a sad, fearful cry. It was almost a happy one, because I was able to really reflect on something so big. It was something that was so hard to comprehend, and something that I hadn't done in a while. I mean, because I've done that. I've reflected on that in the past, especially when I've had DMT experiences or, strong psychedelic experiences.
Yeah, I got it.
But I haven't been able to reflect on that since those experiences, and having that opportunity to have one that was totally induced by an actual experience that, a physical experience in this consciousness or whatever is a big deal. And so anyways, we can get off this subject now. I just wanted to relay that information because I think that a lot of times we get stuck in the cycle of life. We get stuck in the daily motions of things, and we forget that in any moment you can swerve the wrong way, and everything's done, and whatever your most recent activity was for nothing. So at least make it worthwhile, like whatever that was, because all that's ever going to last is whatever impact you leave on the world, So if you go through life impacting people in a positive way and doing things that are beneficial for others, then when you die,
best self.
Yeah, when you die, you will live on, because those people will be like, my God, I miss, it's not, I don't know, like, I don't want, it's not about your memory living on necessarily and stuff like that. But a lot of people, they want, their impact to be on the world, so that there is something left of them. That's why people build fucking skyscrapers with their name on it and shit,
And it's gonna happen no matter what. Like, you're gonna have either that much more plastic in the ocean that you threw in your whole life, or none.
Yeah.
And that's just like kind of an easy example. Like, no matter what you do in this life is affecting other people, is affecting the planet.
Right.
It does have, a reaction in some way.
Yeah. And
so you might as well just do good shit.
Yeah, and if you treat people good, though, and that's the biggest thing, is if you treat people good and if you treat people the best you can in every moment, then if you die tomorrow, at least the last memory that people have of you, even if it was a complete stranger, is going to be a positive one. It's not going to be some shitty memory of, man, the last time I saw that guy, he punched me in the face and called me a cunt. It's like the last time I saw him, we sat at dinner and he smiled the whole time, and we had this conversation that was just moving, and talk about shit and just, I don't know, explore ideas. Don't be afraid to go out and, do something radical instead of just moving through the motions. So.
Yeah, find your truth.
Yeah.
I think that is just kind of a reflection on how much you're loving yourself, though, and how you're treating yourself.
What do you mean?
Oh, just how you treat other people.
Just
how loving you are to yourself. I don't know. I've never been in a great mood because I've been, taking care of myself all day and then yelled at someone like I'm all. Right. I always just let things slide by me. I don't even care when I'm in those, routines of goodness, I guess, like when I'm doing my yoga and I'm hydrated and I'm not eating shit.
Yeah.
I'm listening to music or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think that, you don't need to have a near-death experience, or I don't even know if you even call that an NDE, but you don't need to have, not
like physically, but it was close.
Yeah, you don't need to have a waking up moment like that to, come to this conclusion. All you have to do is start making incremental changes to your life every day for the positive, and then all of a sudden you'll realize that, you want to live the best life you can for that reason. It's not like I feel like I came to this conclusion before the accident on how I want to treat people and stuff like that. But just last night made me reflect on just why even more so I want to do the things that I'm working towards.
The importance of it, and kind of just solidifies your journey you've been on recently.
Right.
It's very cool.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing about it is last night I was thinking about that and thinking about, would I have any regrets if I were to die? And I've done, things in my past that I'm not necessarily proud of and stuff, but at this moment in time, I can honestly say no. I don't feel regret. I don't feel... Yeah,
you've done the work to forgive yourself, to forgive people, other people. You've done that inner work,
Yeah. So it was that was kind of cool too, because, a lot of people have jobs they hate, and a lot of people stay stuck in cycles, and I feel like I'm in a cycle right now, but it's not a bad one. I it's like monotonous at times and things like that, but at least I enjoy my job, and then the rest of my routine is always building towards something better.
You're working on transitioning one day, or
right,
always working on your goals and your passions. Yeah,
it's kind of cool. So anyways, that was my big self-reflection, and it was I guess in the end it was even though it's cost me a vehicle, the vehicle was worth having this conversation, being able to have this conversation and being able to reflect on this, because it was powerful for sure. I haven't really thought about this stuff since, I don't even know, it's been years since I've really sat myself down and thought about something and been able to feel it like this, been able to feel it and visualize it, and
probably been a couple years.
Rationalize it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that was kind of like the last big crazy moment in your life.
Yeah, but I mean, that wasn't even, at the same, that moment wasn't really self-realization. I don't think that moment was more running from problems.
Yeah.
You know, this was.
Oh, well, I'm saying ever since we've been up here trying to deal with those problems.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm saying that I can't think of the last time where I've analyzed death in this kind of way. The last time that I've analyzed death like this was probably when we smoked DMT.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
That's like really the last time that I can think of that.
I mean, yeah, I always analyze death, but I've never had like a super close call.
Yeah.
They sound intense though.
Yeah.
If it wasn't like, drug induced or just me smoking too much weed and thinking about it.
Yeah, I've had a couple in life where I thought for sure I was about to die. And like I was, certain. Like more certain than this time.
Yeah.
But they worked themselves out. So anyways, on with the positivity, out with the
gloom and doom.
Yeah. So some cool news. October 20th, Courtney's coming up here. She's our homegirl from Boise. And
we rented a float house.
Yeah.
So we could all hang out because we live in a fifth wheel.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Float houses aren't that common, so I don't know if we should. Do you think people want to know what a float house is?
You
Probably,
can explain it if you want to. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know.
Feeling the need to.
I've just never really seen a float house.
Seattle has float houses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when I've mentioned it in Boise, people are like, "What's that?" But when I mention it up here, I guess we're on a podcast, so then maybe we should mention it.
Yeah.
Float houses are houses that are float, and the garage, you put your boat in it.
Yeah,
and the streets are docks.
They're built, the foundation, so like the house is built on
they're so cute
foundation made from either logs or big round cylinders that are filled with air, so they float,
Yeah.
But they're actual houses. They're not like a houseboat. They're actual houses, just like structurally, built the same exact way as a normal house.
And I mean, they are more summer homes than not. Like, especially out in Bayview, it's cold as fuck here in the winter. Right. Like, most people winterize.
There are people that live there all year round.
I know,
though.
And they're crazy.
Yeah, they are crazy.
I live in a fifth wheel last year and then going up to this year, and I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine being on the water.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that would be so much more cold.
So much more money to insulate and keep it warm.
Trying to, like, walk on the dock on that? No way. Full of ice. I've seen what that looks like in the winter, and it's like some crazy abandoned snowy ice age shit. It's cool though. I love them.
It's pretty badass though, because float houses they're just really cool and kind of unusual. So I thought it'd be cool to be able to have Courtney stay with us at a float house instead of just getting an Airbnb randomly. And luckily, I know someone that has a float house, so I was able to trade out some cabinet work with them for it. And it's really cool because that float house, I have tons of memories in. Like, I used to go there all the time when I was a kid.
That'll be great for podcasting. We're going to record a podcast there, too.
Yeah, so we're going to record some podcasts. I was thinking...
Really good moods. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking... Go ahead.
What?
Oh, I was thinking that it'd be cool to record a podcast... Like, you record a podcast with her, and then I record a podcast with her, and then
we all record one together.
Yeah, and then we all record one together, and we can release it in different segments. If she wants to record 3 episodes.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. I mean, that would be a good idea, though.
It's not really that much work, though, because she's going to be here for 3 or 4 days. So
knowing Courtney, I don't think she'll be against
I don't think Courtney will care.
However,
it's like,
let's wait and see, because you never know. Like, maybe she's really busy. I know she knows people up here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, aside from on...
Maybe I'm really busy. Nah, I could probably do that.
I'm sure, yeah. You can make time for us. So, but I was thinking it'd be cool because it would kind of give, like the female perspective, the male perspective, and then the duality, So, but I mean, that's up to her if she wants to record 3 episodes in one weekend.
Or we could just do 2. We can just do you and her, and then me and her.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be cool too.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because we only have, do we have 3 mics?
Well, we'll make sure that's good.
We could
yeah,
share a mic or something.
No, I'll make sure that we have one for her. Like, we'll have 3.
But yeah, float houses are beautiful. I've actually never seen one until I moved to Coeur d'Alene, and Eric took me out to Bayview, which is where we live now, which is where his grandparents live. And freaking adorable.
Yeah, they're so
Yeah,
cool.
they're so
There's a
cute.
crazy, if you Google Bayview float houses, there's one that will come up on Google Images, and it is fucking crazy. It looks like,
Is it that gorgeous dark brown
Yeah.
arch one? Oh, I love that
yeah, it looks
one.
like, I mean, it's like an architect's wet dream,
Yeah.
but it's on water. And I don't know how the fuck this guy did it, because it is so intense. I mean, like, as a woodworker, as a builder, I just look at this thing and I'm like, how in the fuck did he do it?
It's very unique.
It's so cool. It's like, it's something that should
But
be
also
in
high end.
a really acid driven film, you
Yeah.
know, like it's
Yeah.
got all these weird shapes and windows and decks and just fucking it's like a really strange architectural, you know, I
Yeah.
don't know, it's crazy. So
Dope.
yeah, I think that I don't know what else we're gonna do with her when she's up here, but
Take
there-
her hiking because
Yeah,
I'm pretty
take it.
sure it's supposed to be fairly warm.
on October 20th.
Oh, she's at the end of October, huh?
Yeah, maybe. I
Hopefully.
don't know. We'll see. If
Crossing
not,
our
she
fingers.
can put a jacket on. We can put a jacket on. Go
It'll
out.
still be fall. It
Yeah.
doesn't get cold
It's not gonna
until
snow.
it's like November. Yeah, true.
So yeah, we can man
You
up.
fucking say that now.
No, it's not gonna snow.
You
I
better not.
I don't think that
don't
I've
say
ever
don't
seen
say
it snow that early in the season up here. And
Crazier
'cause
things have happened though.
not really. That's pretty crazy. But I guess it has
I
snowed
guess if
in
it did,
Florida
it wouldn't
before.
stick. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, so I'm really pumped about that. I was thinking that, you know, what I was initially going to do was there's a houseboat that you can rent on Airbnb, but it was unfortunately booked when she was here. But I was thinking that'd be fucking sick to rent a houseboat. This one's really badass too because it has like 2 bedrooms and it has like Wi-Fi and all this crazy shit. And then we could take her up to Sandpoint because it's on Ponderay, so we could
Yeah.
like take her up to
Oh, true.
Sandpoint and take her around.
We should still take her up to Sandpoint.
Oh yeah, we will
Like,
have to
let's
do
go
it by
get
car.
Organic juices and you know,
Yeah.
go to Winter Ridge or something.
Yeah, and she's a big yogi, so she teaches yoga classes.
We should all go to a yoga class.
Or she could just give us a yoga class
fine
because
too,
she's a
but-
yoga instructor.
But it'd be fun if we all went though.
Yeah,
That would be fun too.
Is there a hot yoga class? Yeah,
Absolutely.
where at?
Sandpoint, Coeur d'Alene, Hayden.
There's some in Hayden.
Yes, I
Oh.
think that. Well, the only one I know of is actually at a gym in Hayden at Peak. But
Oh really?
there's
That's
definitely
cool, though. I
some in
didn't
Coeur
know
d'Alene,
that.
which I didn't know
Yeah.
until I was in Sandpoint and talking to some hot yoga ladies at
Is it
Winter Ridge.
Bikram? You can get
No.
some dick while you do some hot yoga.
No, I don't know the classifications of them, but it's not
Just
that.
kidding.
It's not Bikram.
Yeah, that dude. I wonder how he's doing right now.
Probably not very good.
I don't know, man. He's got a lot of fuck you money, and I think he's got a plane or something. So he's probably sitting on an island somewhere.
Well.
He's like the old version of Dan Bilzerian.
Mhm.
But
Dude, our run was cool today, huh?
yeah,
Yeah. I did pretty good.
yeah, you did pretty good,
What?
pretty good. You know, we could always do better.
I ran the whole way.
Like,
What?
I'm just kidding with you. Yeah, I mean, we should start going further. I don't.
Okay, I'm just kidding. I didn't run the whole way. What are
I
you
know.
talking about?
Well, I know. Well, I mean, you did pretty good. You ran most of it.
I stopped when we were going uphill because it was too steep. I stopped when we were going downhill because it was downhill. I stopped. I
You
didn't want to
did-
go
you did
8
pretty
miles.
good.
I wanted to do the short route.
Yeah, I think we only ran like 2
And
miles.
I was fucking
so.
wheezing. I think I need to do more cardio. I was
Yeah, clearly you need to do more cardio. I will definitely agree with that statement. I think
I
we
was
only ran 2
struggling.
miles. I don't even. It couldn't have been more than 2. Maybe it was 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But that's
It was
it.
hilly though.
So, that's the best running terrain in
I
my
know
opinion.
it is. No,
yeah.
I want to get good at it.
Yeah,
I'm
think.
excited to. I just think that kicked my ass. That's
Yeah.
okay. It can kick my ass. I'm excited to go back on that hill. That's
Let's
a good
do it. We'll
run.
do it tomorrow.
We'll do it tomorrow.
So I
Right when
know.
you get home.
All right, deal. The reason that I like running on terrain like that is because naturally, I don't know if this is how it is for you, but naturally when I run up the hills, I like sprint them.
Mhm.
I always have. I don't know. Is that natural for you?
Well,
I'm serious. Like
I mean,
I wonder if that's natural for everybody. Like I feel like when it comes time for the hill portion, I always sprint it, and then when it levels out, I start jogging again. And I always thought that was kind of
yeah, I mean, I didn't do that today, but generally I feel like it's better to do that. I I feel like pushing yourself when it's up the steep parts and you're like lunging and like jumping on a rock. I feel like, yeah.
I
Because
mean,
otherwise,
I
what the
just
fuck?
wonder if
If you
it's
don't
like,
have momentum when you're going uphill, it makes more sense, like
yeah,
physically.
that's
to
what I
do
think
that.
too. It's
Yeah.
like naturally I've always done that, you know. So I like that kind of training. Like I can't do the treadmill thing, dude.
Yeah, it
just
sucks. I ran on
sucks.
the treadmill for like 1 mile, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm so bored."
Yeah,
And I went and
it's
lifted
just
for a little bit and got out of
boring
there.
It just feels really American. It just feels,
Yeah.
you know, or maybe I shouldn't say American, but yeah, fucking American. It feels
like
well, no,
I have
American.
to watch something in order to zone out, in order to not know that I'm on a treadmill. When I run outside, and I mean, it was beautiful today too. Like it was
Yeah.
like the perfect condition, like perfect weather. We're in this gorgeous mountains, which by the way, we didn't see anyone there. It's like so perfect. I don't know. I'm excited to be out there. Like I'm enjoying what I'm doing. You know, it feels more natural. Like I'm not, you know, strapping myself to a treadmill and forcing myself to do something. Like I'm having fun too.
Right. Yeah, with the treadmill, it just feels very artificial. But I think that
Which is great in the wintertime. But
no, it's not even great then. It's just
you-
better than not running.
Yes.
It's better than sitting on the couch.
I'm grateful we have them in the wintertime, but it's still not fun.
Yeah, I think that we're going to have to switch over to the other gym, though, for the winter because they have those curved treadmills. It's way better on your knees. Way better.
Do they have a infrared sauna or a dry sauna or a steam room?
I don't know. I didn't ask. I should have asked. But I know that they have a lot of... I like it because they have a lot more, like, applicable fitness training stuff. You know, like... functional fitness stuff. So they've got this like tire flipping machine where you flip the tire and then you go to the other side and flip it, and then it's not an actual tire.
It's like
just
a half tire.
Yeah, it's a half tire with weights in it. I thought that was fucking badass.
That's interesting.
And so you can add weights to it and flip
Wow.
heavier weights and stuff.
I really want to get more serious into yoga because I enjoy that a ton, and I really want to start doing some not boxing, but more like some sort of fighting, self-defense / exercise, like MMA.
Yeah.
Or
Do it.
that's about it.
That would be so
I
sexy.
feel like that would be cool.
I
feel
would
like
I would think it'd be really
sometimes-
sexy if you would do some sort of MMA.
I know you would.
Like,
you
for
like
real.
that. I like it too. You know how you rebel against your parents?
yeah.
My dad was a boxing coach, and I just like hated the whole scene forever. But now I'm like really
Yeah, but boxing
seeing-
coaches hate MMA.
God, they're so stupid.
So-
I know, it's
so
weird.
just do Brazilian
so
jiu-jitsu.
I'm still rebelling.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. They like despise Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so just do that.
It's so weird that that can be clicky.
Everything is
Everything.
clicky.
It's so
I know
strange.
it was funny because well, I guess speaking of that, listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Chris Kresser and Joel Kahn.
Oh, we should talk about that.
Yeah. So it was funny because they said, you know, it's crazy how diets have become ideological. And it's like everything is ideological. Everything. If you like yoga, people that like well, I mean, I don't know about that. I haven't met any crazy ideologically driven yogis,
It's like
but
the whole point of yoga is to be
not be a cunt.
not attached and not
Yeah.
identified with
Right.
something.
So take that one back. But you know, like, but people with sports, there's soccer. It's like, oh, I'm a huge.
This is my team.
Yeah, I can't even
Even
think
though
of
they
a
don't
soccer
play
team.
on the team.
Or
you don't know soccer.
with football, it's like, you know, I'm a Raiders fan, and then the Raiders hate the whatever, and then if you're a paleo, I'm paleo, and you subscribe to that diet,
So
or if
all
you're keto,
people are stupid, or vegan people are stupid.
and then if you're vegan, it's like an ideologue.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens with electronic music, you know, with different clicks. I was
Yeah, we
I
were
was
just talking
guilty
about
of
that.
yeah, bass music versus house music. Or it happens with spiritual people, you know, like, oh my god, the bros. And it's so funny just because
Yeah, that reminds me of like the girls in high school that would make fun of me for not wearing makeup, or not being like the typical popular person. It's like the same
Right.
thing if you're making fun of someone for being more mainstream and more basic. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah, I know. It cracks me up. So it's like listening to them say that. I was just thinking in my head, like, man, yeah, I agree. Diets have become ideologically driven, but so is everything.
That's how humans are, man.
Unfortunately, we need to get the fuck over it too.
I think that is part of. I think that's part of it. I think that we should all be working on that. I think that it's really beneficial to be in a state where you're not like judging other people constantly, because it's a really like unhappy state.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's the same thing with the political stuff. It's like,
focus
you know,
on your shit, get your shit together, be happy.
Yeah, if you're like I've said on here in the past that I'm like more libertarian than anything else, but I'm not a libertarian. I just am more libertarian.
Yeah, like you're trying to describe something so someone else, you know, can understand a little bit, but then they're taking everything that they assume or has read or whatever about that thing and saying that you're that. And it's like, no, it's just, they're just ideas.
I'm more paleo than anything, but I'm not a fucking paleo.
No.
I know, I'm modern day man.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm like an alpha male, but I'm not an alpha male.
Gosh, I hate that too.
You know?
So I just posted on Instagram. I shouted out Wild and Alive. Sorry, I was thinking Alive and Well, which is a different brand, but Wild and Alive organic, raw, vegan chocolate, local as well. Shout out to Judith and David. They work at Pilgrims with me, but they have the best chocolate ever. And I posted. I just kind of made a post about them wearing their t-shirt, and because I tagged vegan in my shirt, their shirt has vegan on it, along with like 5 other different words that describes their chocolate. This guy's like, that makes me want some bacon and some chocolate and then maybe some more bacon. It's like he's just saying that because he's assuming that I'm vegan, even though like, dude, I love eating vegan meals, but dude, I eat a keto meal sometimes.
Bacon.
Sometimes I eat like
and bacon and chocolate go great together. By the way,
paleo meal. Like sometimes I focus on just plants because I need a break from meat. Like I don't know. I just think that it's so weird that people still treat people like that on the internet.
Yeah.
Because I remember being vegan and being treated like that, and it's like, dude, you're so immature.
Yeah.
You know.
And their fucking
and
chocolate.
I'm not. Yeah, sorry.
Is the best
chocolate ever. It just happens to be vegan.
Yeah, which is great.
Which means
there's no milk in it.
And it's fucking chocolate. Yeah, that's mostly why. I mean, there actually are vegan full spectrum, but for marketing purposes, like even if you're not vegan, sometimes you go for vegan chocolate because it doesn't have it assures certain things about it. That doesn't mean you know can't ever eat meat again. Like fuck.
Yeah, I know it is really funny, and it's just the me versus them mentality, and it's a really big problem right now, especially in our political spectrum, because it's creating so much distraction amongst people that they're not able to focus on the real issues at hand, which is things like global warming and littering and the ocean problem and the fishing regulations. Like people don't even understand what overfishing is, you know, like that we have huge regulations in place for hunting, obviously, right? You know, you have to pull tags. You can't just go kill something. There's huge regulations for hunting. Commercial fishermen can fish as many fucking fish as they want. You know, there's no regulation. I mean, there is regulation, but basically it's if you have a commercial fishing license, you can fish, and that's the regulation.
Yeah, and they're wiping out, like, this is the reason why I actually do fish oil from a company that does it differently than just scooping up a bunch of anchovies and sardines, like, or whatever, the krill or something, because like you disrupt that entire like little ecosystem. You know, you're taking all the algae or all the, I can't even think of what the big whales eat, but you're taking all of that.
Plankton?
Yeah, like things
is that
like,
what it I don't actually have no idea
that
what you're
probably
talking
doesn't
about,
get
so.
caught up in the net, but that's not my point. My point is it's way more disruptive and unhealthy to do mass amounts at a time. Yeah.
I mean, but it's just really important to eat sustainably caught fish.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. It's hard to do that. I mean, honestly, it's almost like anything right now is unsustainable.
Yeah.
Because of the overfishing issues that we have.
I know. And I'm
it's
starting
really
to
unfortunate.
eat fish again. And I think about it all the time. I feel
I'm a part of the problem.
Good when I eat it, though. Like, I see the benefits in it. For
Well, luckily,
me physically.
sardines and mackerel aren't actually. They're not as big of a problem as these other things because of where they hang out in the ocean and how small they are and how abundant they are. They're not quite as big of a problem. It's just these, like salmon and the main problem really. I mean, okay, overfishing is a huge problem, but the big problem also is us fucking up our oceans and making it inhabitable for a fish. I mean, anyways, okay, so we're getting off in the weeds in that.
Yeah.
But
one more thing on that, though. I feel I don't know if it's this area. That's the only thing I can assume, because every time I talk to someone who's from a more progressive area or a more progressive state, they say, I can't believe how much plastic you guys use here. They say things like that all the time. And they're not being rude. It's just like they're shocked and surprised and they don't have to pay for plastic, But I have heard by, I won't say who because people at work listen to this. But I've just heard, like, it's a common theme here. Like, oh, I don't live by the ocean. I'll just go in the landfill. I've literally heard that.
What?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
I wanted to punch them. I was, like, so upset. I was so frustrated. I was, like, starting to feel myself act like a child and throw a temper tantrum. I'm like, you don't understand.
Oh, my God.
It's like what I wanted to scream at them, Let that soak in for a second. It doesn't matter. It's not going to go in the ocean. It's like, okay, yes, there's plastic that's in the ocean that's on television that you just saw. Like, that's a huge fucking problem. Huge problem. But there's also other problems with plastic.
How about sourcing it? I mean, that's a huge problem. The fact that we have to use oil to make it.
I know.
The fact that we have to.
We don't have to, but we do.
Yeah. So the whole thing is a problem.
Yeah. I guess I'm passionate about it. I'm not saying I'm completely
Well, and it's just so
either.
fucking. It's so fucking meaningless because all it takes is like 5 seconds of initiative to just either be a fucking man and stop being a little bitch and carry your shit out of the grocery store, or just fucking bring a bag. It's that easy. I mean, it's like that fucking easy. And if grocery stores just said, we're not going to carry bags anymore.
Yes, thank you.
If they just said, we're not going to carry bags anymore, figure it out. Yeah. Then they would save money on bags.
They would find ways.
And people would find ways. Yeah, it's like
we're coming up with ideas at the store. Like, we're trying to donate all of our old reusable bags so people will actually take it instead of having to buy it, because people don't want to buy a reusable bag. They just want to use plastic.
Well, that's silly, but
so silly.
I mean, the problem with that is that they're just going to leave it at home, and then they're going to come back and get plastic.
True.
The real solution is. The real solution is for stores to stop carrying bags. Yes. That's the fucking solution. That's natural grocers. That's what's cool about natural grocers is that they only offer those boxes. So if you and those are boxes that they have to get rid of anyways. And then hopefully the people that are shopping there will be conscientious enough to recycle them.
Yes.
But I mean, the fact is, I mean, it doesn't matter. Even like this, like, because a lot of people are like, well, it's a biodegradable bag. It's not fucking biodegradable. Nothing is totally biodegradable. No plastic out there is completely biodegradable.
Yeah.
So,
and it's also people don't understand this either. It's only in certified landfills, certified places where they, in air quotes, like decompose this stuff or whatever.
Yeah, but they don't do shit.
They don't do shit.
It goes somewhere. Everything goes somewhere, and everything has to come from somewhere. So we're pulling resources out of the earth, and then we're like returning them in a really shitty way in very specific areas. So whatever benefit that we could gain from them are only in certain areas with a bunch of toxic shit. So there's not any cycle that's, there's no positivity coming out of it. At least if we were just like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that could be beneficial, like maybe it could contribute some sort of carbon to the, because that's the other problem too, why our soil is so, deficient, is because we're putting things in such specific places like bodies, and we dispose of things so specifically. We don't allow any shit to go anywhere. Everything is put in
their own place where it should kind of be all feasting off each other.
Right. There's a certain like cycle that needs to occur for living things to survive, and we're not contributing to that cycle.
If I ever die, do not put me in a fucking coffin.
I know.
Please, dear God, do not do that.
If I die, I want to be buried up here.
Yeah, right by Bruno, like
Yeah.
just in the dirt,
Yep.
like where we come from.
I think it's illegal.
Fuck yeah. I know it's illegal, but that's stupid.
Yeah. So if you're a homie of mine listening to this, after our heavy death intro, just know that if I do die, I don't want to be buried in a coffin, and I don't want a funeral, and I definitely don't want one that's based on religion. So
It's like your second worst fear.
Yeah, I know.
Your first worst fear.
I know, right? And so I'm actually really glad that we're doing this live on the podcast right now, because I've always thought, like, if I died, I'm sure somehow religion will be infiltrated into my funeral, because of my family or whatever. But I'm just
Don't worry,
publicly.
I got your back.
What if we die together? And then both of us would have a religious funeral.
That's for sure going to happen.
Sierra would step in at some point, hopefully.
It wouldn't matter, but...
I know it wouldn't matter, but
doesn't
I just could not imagine, like, first of all, I just hate the idea of people mourning me. It just sounds terrible. Ugh, But then on top of that, if they were like, he was a God-fearing man.
He's watching us right now. It's like, no, he ain't, because if he was, he'd be yelling at you.
Yeah, telling you to stop talking about that bullshit. So, anyways, the Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, yes. Dr. Joel Kahn and Chris Kresser.
Mm-hmm.
I love Chris Kresser.
Yeah.
Let me just start out by saying he's really cool and genuine and honest. And I feel like for the most part, he keeps his mind open. And he's also been through a lot with diet and nutrition. Right. Dr. Joel Kahn, I wish he just wasn't as close-minded. I don't know. He came off a little arrogant sometimes.
Yeah.
But I liked a lot of the stuff he said. And sometimes his personality shone through in like a more light, playful way that I actually appreciated.
Right. It seemed to me like he was a politician. Just the way that he was talking the entire time was very
he did get pretty defensive and like identified with it a lot more than
he just
should
used
with
very
food.
He used very basic debate tactics, which are just like trying to get the crowd to think that you're like the understanding one in the debate, trying to talk in a way where it's like I'm the good guy here. We're all working towards the same goal, but in reality he's just trying to win the debate. So he's using these tactics of like trying to get people on his side, trying to get and then so that way it kind of gives more merit to what he's saying, I think. And it also just seemed like he was, every time that they would give real science or anything like that, the way that he would respond was by like packaging a bunch of irrelevant things with a response to the point that they were saying. So he was responding to it, but he also had like 5 little additives to it that kind of distracted you from the answer.
Yeah, and Joe kept being like, okay, but, and then he would repeat his question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty good. I was actually kind of hoping that they would get into a little bit more of the micronutrient part of it.
Yeah,
and
they talked about cholesterol for like ever.
Yeah. And like when it came down to them talking about supplementation, unfortunately Chris Kresser wasn't able to really get into why supplementation isn't the answer, why it shouldn't be the answer, and nutrition should come from food. I mean, we don't really know how supplementation is going to impact the body right now, and it's important to take supplementation when it's necessary, like vitamin D, for example. If you can't get vitamin D any other way, then supplementation might be something that you need to do. But that shouldn't be the first thing that you do, is try to supplement vitamins and minerals. You should try to get them from your food as a whole food diet, so that way you're absorbing them with other nutrients that aid in the digestive process of that. Yeah. And that was something that I really wish that they would have talked more about. I think that that's a really important part to the vegan diet, because even Dr. Kahn or whatever, he was taking mouthfuls of vitamins saying, this is how I get my vitamins. And it's like,
he
okay, but you're basically saying this diet isn't sufficient enough. You're saying this diet is lacking in nutrients. It's not sufficient enough to survive on. So you have to supplement it with all these things. And then at that point, you have to ask yourself, well, if in order for me to be healthy on this diet and I need to supplement all of these things with it, is this really a healthy diet? I mean, what defines healthy as a diet? You know?
And if that's the case, which I'm not even saying it is, but if that's the case, because it is for him. I mean, he's obviously, like, he took a mouthful of them.
No, it is the case. I mean,
Hold on, though.
both of them agreed on the vitamin B. Both of them agreed on omega-3 and DHA.
They did.
So, anyways.
So if that's the case, I wish he would just say that and be honest and be like, you know what, this is about animals, or this is about our carbon footprint. But it's
he did
not
say
the
that
healthiest.
Though. But he did say that. I
but
mean,
no,
he said it.
He's a heart.
That's what I was gonna say.
Though.
That's what I was gonna say. Was he said it that in order to sustain your life the best for cardiology reasons, you know, for your heart, it's the best thing to do is to be vegan with supplementation, because that's going to give you the healthiest for your cardiovascular system. So that's what he was saying, was that this diet is the most optimal way to live, to have a healthy, because heart disease is the number one killer in America, right? So he was saying that the heart disease is the number one killer in America. So the best way to live a good, sustainable life is to be vegan and then supplement the things that you need to. Because even if supplementation isn't the best way to do it, at least you're getting, you know what I mean? You're getting a healthy cardiovascular system, and then the negative impacts that could be from supplementation aren't as big of a deal as the cardiology or the cardiovascular risks. So that was his point. So he did say that. I mean,
and he's a heart doctor, and he's seeing patients who are so far down the rabbit hole of cholesterol that, I mean, they have to do that. Yeah, that makes sense.
It does when you take into consideration that everybody that's coming to him have been eating the Western diet.
Yes.
And they're not basing any of these studies on eating good food.
Yeah.
Because if they were, they would be acknowledging the fact that heart disease isn't common in other places, like, you know, with the Inuit, for example. Nobody died from heart disease in that culture. No one. Not one. Not one died from cancer. And they ate primarily fat. In the winter, that's all they had was fat. In the summer, they had a little bit of blueberries with it. I mean, that was the extent of their diet. So it's like, it's not a logical, unfortunately, it's not a logical conclusion, because you're making the assessment that vegan is the best way to do it. But the whole reason that you're making that assessment is because he's saying basically you need to eat whole food, plant-based diet and then supplement it. But if you just ate a whole food, plant-based diet with liver and the meats necessary for your other nutrients. So I just think that the thing with the vegan diet, it just depends on what you're going after. Because if you're going after it just for health, if you implement liver, I mean, liver has so much vitamin B in it and so much, you know, other nutrients. Just implementing that alone is going to increase your health so much. And so I just think that, unfortunately, you know, there's got to be a point as a scientist or as a doctor or as a human when you're looking at something objectively and you say, okay, I could be wrong about this, you know, and the science that's out for his research is completely based on the Western diet. All of our history in this country is based on the Western diet. All of our scientific studies are based on people that are switching from a Western diet.
That might be why you have so many fad diets and how...
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, because, I mean, once you start eating real food, which is generally what happens if you're switching your diet, like you start cooking things.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
that doesn't always happen.
No,
you start eating less processed foods.
Right. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I think the main reason why people feel so great when they switch to a vegan diet, because I've been there and so have you. It's because you switch over to a vegan diet and you're eating Whole Foods and things like that, you're not eating processed shit anymore. You're eating, even if you're not eating whole foods, you're eating much better, because most vegan companies that are making products aren't making stuff that have the same shitty ingredients in it that you were eating before. So your body gets some
processed food is better.
Right. So you're getting some like initial shock to the system, and it's a good shock. But I mean, after a couple years, no matter what, you're going to start getting deficient in something. And that goes for any diet if you're not mindful. I mean, like even
keto
or paleo. Yeah. Even paleo with, cuz I guess that's what I would kind of, once again, not a libertarian, not a paleolithic person, but that's kind of more of what we eat.
Paleo to me means something a little different than the mainstream definition of paleo. Like even one of my coworkers was talking about how stupid the paleo diet is, and I'm like, well, to me, most of what that is, like, I eat paleo, I try to anyways. Most of what that means is sometimes you just kind of ate what was around you. So sometimes you did eat grains, sometimes you ate vegetables and fruit, and sometimes all you had was meat. But you're eating a wide variety of healthy, unprocessed foods, and it means like no artificial dyes and things like that.
I don't think grains were ever a part of the Paleolithic diet, though.
Yeah, but as someone who was in the Paleolithic era and we adapt after so long.
Right. Yeah, I don't think
there's certain people who actually can handle a small amount of certain types of grains, and you get those benefits from it.
What benefits though? I don't think that there's any benefits to grain, which is why even if it's good for you or agreeable for you, I don't think that you should eat it. I'm just trying to make
the point that even Chris Kresser, he just doesn't like it when everyone assumes like something about being paleo because it's I don't know.
Yeah, I think that. So the way that I look at it with nutrition, for the most part, and everybody has their weaknesses. Like mine has been chocolate for some reason. I think it's your fault.
Probably because of me.
Yeah, I think it's your fault. But
damn, have you been eating good chocolate though? If you eat dark, it's not bad.
Well, yeah, but it's still not. I mean, I just don't. What I was about to say, is I don't find it necessary to eat things that aren't really beneficial. Like I want every meal that I eat or everything that I eat to be
cacao.
I know there are benefits to it. I know.
It's got a lot of protein, a lot of magnesium. Yeah. I'm not saying you should eat it every day.
Antioxidants, I know.
But dude, that 95%.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a little. You only want a little bit. Like you can't handle too much of it.
Right. Yeah, I think that. I guess, like with grain though, there's really not much of a benefit to it.
What about legumes, if cooked properly?
For me, I can't.
Oh no, of course not.
Yeah, but for other
some people,
I mean, dude, whatever you can, whatever you can do, and it makes you, if it really makes you feel good, and it's not causing you problems, go for it. But I mean, just be rational and actually listen to what your body says, because in the moment a Red Bull might feel good, but it's not going to if you do it every day for 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what I think. I think that there's way too much weight put on. I mean, for someone like me who has a serious autoimmune disorder, I think that it's important that I stick to a really strict diet. I think that going off the train a little bit with my personality tends to make me go off the train a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's really important for me to just stick with that.
For me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really glad we've stuck to it, because I do feel silly saying like, oh, I'm paleo. I mean, I'm not 100% like you are. Like
paleo?
Yeah, like sometimes.
I don't think I'm necessarily paleo either. I mean, because I do dairy and
yeah, true.
Yeah, so I just think I eat healthy, and that's the biggest fucking point.
Yes, exactly.
As the takeaway, and that's the thing that unfortunately Chris Kresser gets it, but like all of these other fucking people don't really. I mean, even like I really love Rob Wolf, but even he gets kind of ideological with it sometimes, and I'm just like, dude,
I've heard him admit that he does.
Diet. It's a fucking diet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a way of eating.
Yeah.
There's no one right way for everybody.
Yeah. And it's going to change at different times.
Yeah, I suggest that everybody tries to figure out their optimal way of health, because it's the optimal way to live. You feel better. You want to do more things. It makes your day-to-day life more interesting and interactive, and you're living a more fulfilled life.
Your hormones are, you have a good steady balance of your hormone production. Your cycle's regular. There's tons of benefits.
Well, and like, think about it as like, if you're think about interacting your life like you interact with a video game or something like that. It's like when you play Grand Theft Auto and you get fucking cheat codes, and it makes the game 10 times better. I'm just trying to think of it an example.
No, that's a great example.
But it's like it makes it 10 times better, way more interesting. You get more things out of it. More opportunities. When you're healthy and you're optimizing your health and you're trying to be, make yourself feel the best at all times. You have more to offer to other people. You have more, opportunity. Yeah. You can work harder. You can get more out of life. You can. There's so many benefits to it, and it doesn't just end with feeling good. It ends with the world being your oyster. I mean, if you feel good, you're gonna start going to the gym. When you start going to the gym, you start to be sexier. People want to fuck you more. So if you have a problem with sex, sexual encounters, I'm just saying, if you're
or your relationship gets better.
Yeah, everyone, with your partner. If you're if you're not having sex in your relationship, if you go to the gym, that's going to increase your sex.
Yeah.
Like, guaranteed. If you're in a marriage,
guaranteed.
And we're
guaranteeing this. 100% true.
Tested and tried. But if you're going to the gym, and your wife or partner or husband at home isn't, they're going to see that, and then they're going to want to be like, damn, they're really like, they're increasing their performance, and they're doing all these things, and then it's either going to inspire them or cause resentment, in which case you're
not loving your partner properly.
Y'all motherfuckers need to talk about that. But it's gonna hopefully inspire them to go to the gym, and then all of a sudden, like, you guys are both going to the gym and you're just pushing off of each other, and then that's gonna motivate you to be like, damn, this feels good. What else would feel good? Well, fuck, maybe we should try this eating habit. And then, damn, that feels good. What else feels good? You know what feels good? Making 6-figure income. Like, you know what I mean? Trying to, like, advance ourselves.
Or, like,
sure. I mean, I go to money, you go to meditation, whatever.
Or spending time on, like, just focusing on being peaceful,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I love that. It brings me a lot of happiness to meditate. And why are you laughing? It does.
I don't know, because I'm just like, I get all like juiced on cash, and you're just like, slow it down and meditate, and it's like, I'm just like, you can fucking hustle and get out there and fucking make money.
Whatever makes you feel good, that just genuinely makes me feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Whatever works, dude. And and you can, when you have more energy, you have more hours in the day, hopefully, and because when you don't have energy, what you spend your time doing is watching TV and sitting on your ass. And
I was guilty of that last year in the winter time.
Yeah. I mean,
it's easy to get into.
Well, I don't think so. We fucking hit the gym pretty hard last year. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we watched a show.
Dude, we watched a show.
No, we watched a couple shows.
But we also went to the gym every night.
Okay, not every. I'm just saying we could be like, okay, I couldn't imagine watching a TV show right now between podcasting and work and music and working out and meal prepping. Like my hour, like I wake up way too early, first of all. And sometimes I don't get home until really, really late, like my day is full. So me watching TV for 30 minutes or an hour is just taking away from like journaling or doing things that like really bring me
except on Sundays.
I don't even want to. I'll watch a movie.
Sundays are my TV days.
Movies.
I do one.
I like documentaries.
I do 1 hour of TV on Sundays just so y'all motherfuckers know that I'm not too serious about it. You know what I mean? I put that like in my journal.
That's great though.
I know
problem
it's
with
good.
me though is when I start watching a TV series, I'm like, whoa, I wonder who Tyler's going to be with after this episode. And then I have to watch the second one because I got to know.
That's what everybody does.
I know.
Yeah. You just got to nip that shit in the ass. That's why
I'm not watching TV shows.
It's so funny because, like in the day and age of everybody going towards instant gratification and things like that, I'm almost like, man, I kind of miss the old days when it would be really cool if there was a way where you could watch a series every Sunday for 1 hour and then have to wait. You know what I mean?
I remember
Wouldn't
being a
that
kid
give
and it was like
dude.
that. And it was actually, I would call my best friend like every Thursday night on a certain time and we'd watch the show together.
Yeah. That'd
And
be
it
so
was, like, a
badass if it
weekly
was still
thing.
like that, because it would give, you know, like, for example, like Sunday is my 1 hour of TV, right?
Mhm.
So that would be so cool if I had that 1 hour of TV and it gave me something to look forward to for that 1 hour.
Yeah.
Because now with everything being instant, I can't really get into a series, and it's like I can't, like last Sunday, what we put on a movie, but it was in the background. It wasn't even, we didn't even watch it.
Yeah.
I think we ended up having sex.
Yeah, we were like eating food and we were laughed at it. We just weren't like, what is going to happen for
Yeah.
the next
It was just,
week.
dude, yeah, we
But it's the pendulum though. It's like everything is too instant that I feel like we're kind of longing for something that
no, totally.
takes more time, that slows it
Yeah.
down, that, you know, like
Yeah.
reading books is so like fulfilling
Yeah.
for that reason, because you're, you know, taking the time to actually delve into something
Yeah.
instead of just watch a whole series of something in one day.
It's like the Fermi
All day.
paradox. Isn't it the Fermi's paradox? That's like, you know, if I'm pretty sure it's the Fermi's paradox. I could be wrong. But it's basically like, I hope that I'm right on what this is, because I don't remember. But it's basically like, if the universe is so abundant and there's galaxies and planets everywhere, then how come we haven't ran into alien life yet? You know? And so people have tried to answer that, because based on calculations that this dude did, you know, he said we should have had contact with aliens like this many times, you know. So
That's kind of a weird calculation.
well, yeah, but it is calculatable, you know, because it's based on, you know, how many inhabitable
Chances or probability.
yeah, habitable zones and all that shit.
Mhm.
So
Interesting.
yeah, so he did all the math and figured out how many, and so he's like, so why haven't we? And so there's all this speculation, like, well, it could be because aliens got to a certain point, like basically every time a civilization gets to a certain point, they end up killing themselves with nuclear war.
Yeah.
Or it could be that every time they get to a certain point, they get into virtual reality,
Yeah.
and then they end up not leaving their planet because they're so obsessed with technology.
Yeah.
Or, and this is the one that I like the most, is maybe people get to a certain point with technology and then they say, fuck it, let's go back. And they just want to live in harmony with their planet.
Hmm.
I mean, it sounds really
I
poetic.
like that one too.
Yeah, it sounds poetic and beautiful.
I vote
You
that
know.
one. Let's do
Yeah,
that
but
one.
I also like technology and space, so fuck, I don't know. I'm down with I don't want to explore space with robots. Like that, you know, like that's everybody's like, "Oh man, it'd be so cool if we could just develop technology to like send out there and it could do our exploration for us." I'm like still stuck in the whole idea of Star Wars and fucking spaceships with us flying them, like,
that would be
you
pretty
know,
badass.
but thinking logically and rationally, it makes way more sense to send out AI, because it's not,
And I mean, like,
you know,
it's not feasible for humans, so maybe that's the whole like I don't want to say purpose, but progression that we're working towards is that
yeah, I
like
mean,
we can build something
eh,
that is immortal essentially.
I don't tend to believe that
and
there's
they're
a plan
gonna-
for anything.
No, I'm not saying there's a plan. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen.
Oh,
AI is
yeah.
going to happen.
Maybe.
What do you mean maybe?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Maybe
It's happening right now. Whether
maybe
or not
we
it gets
blow
really
ourselves
good.
up with nukes. And
Well,
then,
yeah, of course. I'm just saying, like, if it does happen,
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be good, and I feel like humans will be obsolete at some point if,
Oh, yeah.
if that happens
for sure.
and continues to happen, which I think it will.
Have you seen these fuck robots?
I think. Well, I haven't seen them.
They're creepy,
Yeah, I'm sure.
and people do it. They
I'm
put their
sure.
dick in a robot and have sex with it.
Yeah.
It's really gross.
Yeah. Whatever floats your boat.
I guess. I don't know. It creeps me out where we're at. Like, okay, I can't remember. I think it was Joe
Rocks
Rogan.
your socks.
Yeah. I think it was Joe Rogan on a podcast, and he was talking about, fuck, I hope that I got this right, that it was Joe Rogan. But I think it was him, and he was talking about, it was Aubrey Marcus. He was talking about on his podcast, he was talking about how, if you go to any like porn channel, like, like YouPorn or RedTube or whatever, Pornhub, yeah, any of those things. If you go to any of those things and look at like any of the top watch videos or whatever, it's all like incestual. So it's like, like mom fucks son.
Ew.
And yeah, that's it.
I was just listening to that podcast.
Oh,
I think you sent me it.
Was that the podcast I sent you? I didn't know. I didn't know what it was. But
I heard him say that, and I was just like, gross.
Yeah, I know, me too. And I just thought, like, and his point behind it was, it made a lot of sense that, we've gotten so extreme with our...
done it all.
Yeah, we've done so much, and we've taken it to the edge so far that the last forbidden fruit is fucking your family members.
That's disgusting.
It is so gross.
Ew.
So if you guys are watching porn out there, slow it the fuck down. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. I'm like... You're too addicted
at that point.
If you're watching mom porn, I mean, there's no way that
there's some problems going on with you.
Yeah, you have...
that you need to work out.
You need to... Yeah, you have that... What's that?
Something
Oedipus,
happened to you.
The Oedipus complex. That's like, Oedipus in the Greek mythology. Oh, he fucked his mom, I think. Or wanted to fuck his mom and killed his dad. Anyways, so... yeah, you need to slow it down. All right, just take a breath. Jerk off to some S&M or something. Some bondage. Like, take it back a notch. But there's no way that these people are actually fucking their mothers, right?
Of course not.
Yeah, it's just actors or something.
Who would do that?
I don't know. I mean,
not.
So the title is the title is misleading, obviously. And
well, aren't they all?
I don't know. Maybe.
Aren't they all acting? Aren't they all doing this to make money?
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Yeah. I feel like, I'm not a big porn person, but if I was a porn person, I feel like I would want to watch something like... The porn that I would watch would be so boring, because it would be like two people sitting on a couch talking about, their day. And then it would have to be like really like a 12-hour massage. And then, because it's like, it just seems really strange. Like
That's so weird.
I don't think I could get
You're
into...
a weirdo.
I know. I just don't think I could get into watching some fucking, like, hit me or something,
Well, yeah, but I mean,
spank me, mom. Like, I don't know. I just don't understand what people are doing.
Porn doesn't do it for me, personally. And
I know.
It does for a lot of people, though, Eric. Like,
I know.
And I mean, it's not all smacking your grandmas and it's not
your
whatever.
Aunt.
Yeah, it's not all that.
Yeah.
I think porn is actually it has some benefits.
Yeah.
But I also
feel
like
if you're a psychopath, it does for sure. Like if you're one of those people that's gonna fucking either like watch bondage porn or go kidnap someone and kill them. Yeah, or choose to watch porn. Well, they say that
No, I know.
Has cut down on that shit.
I'm just saying, like, even just like personal pleasure, like it's okay to get off on watching someone have sex.
Sure.
Like exploring that,
Yeah, as long as they know you're watching them.
Of course. I don't know what I'm trying to fucking say here.
Well, yeah, I mean, another
thing
that Aubrey and Whitney talked about was how they watch porn together sometimes.
Yeah. And like we've tried that.
Have we? I don't think we've ever tried that.
I think we tried that.
You must be thinking about somebody else, because I don't think I've ever done that. I just couldn't even imagine. Like, I would be so... Yes. I would be so bored watching porn with you when I could just have sex with you.
We recorded us.
Oh, yeah. I do remember doing that.
That might be what I'm thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, that was cool. I'm down to do that again.
We did some weird stuff together.
Yeah.
But not too weird. Just a little weird.
It wasn't like, as weird as what we're talking about right now. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah, we kind of got on a weird subject. I wanted to say something about porn, but then I lost it.
Yeah.
Porn doesn't do it for me personally. But it did at like one point. I
really?
was curious. Yeah. Not
it
like...
It did it for you?
No. Like not like...
you can be
like,
honest with me.
Did it? No, I am.
I mean, like, I don't care. I'm just curious. That's really fascinating.
Why is that fascinating?
I don't know. Just
It's natural. First of all. Yes.
To watch porn.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
Dude,
seem natural
Eric,
to me.
you're a rarity, okay? Most people watch, every guy you know is mostly into porn. Or if not, they're not now. They were at one point.
Yeah.
But you were too. You watched porn. You were a curious young boy at one point.
I never really got into it even when I was young.
Yeah.
I never really did. I mean, I'm not saying that I haven't watched it,
Yeah.
but I mean, the extent of my porn career was very, very minimal. And the best porn that I've ever seen was when Little John showed me fast forward blowjobs. And it was hilarious. But it wasn't a porn. It was just fucking hilarious. It was just like blowjobs in fast forward. So it was like 10 times the normal speed. And it's so funny to watch.
That's so weird and funny. Yeah, porn memes are a huge thing right now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
Like they're in a weird position or they're making a weird face and they're saying something that's irrelevant to sex, but you know it's porn.
Really?
They're pretty funny. Christy
Damn
always
it,
actually.
will you send me some?
Well, no, just watch Christy's stories. She always posts them.
On Facebook?
Yeah, she posts a lot of good.
I'm not on Facebook.
Oh,
though.
no. Instagram. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't
Her
know
stories.
if I follow her on there.
Well, you
I'll
should
have
because
to.
it makes me laugh all the time.
Really? That's
yeah,
hilarious.
That's pretty funny. No, it's okay to get off to things.
Sure.
We can totally
Yeah.
get off the subject too. I don't have to keep.
We should get off to this subject. No, I mean, look.
Sex is supernatural, by the
But-
way.
Fucking your mother isn't, so don't watch that kind of sex.
I think we need to have more sex in general. And maybe that's why porn is such a big thing. Like, I remember a long time ago, I don't know how accurate this is now, but reading some study that porn is huge in the Utah area. And it's also really big in, like...
Wait. In the Mormon area?
Yeah.
And that's really interesting because
Well, sex is
incest
suppressed.
is... Oh.
Oh, what? We're not talking about the incest porn. We're just talking about porn.
I'm just saying that there's probably some freaky shit that goes on in Utah.
Oh, I guess that's a good point. But I was more so thinking, like you grew up with trauma. Is that what you're saying?
I'm sure
Sexual
those
trauma.
children do, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's not judge a whole religion of people. I'm just trying to say sex is really suppressed. And we saw it when we went to the show there. Those kids were crazy on everything.
Yes.
Crazy drugs. Like,
Yeah.
they're so intense.
Salt Lake City is a very weird place.
It's so, I mean, there's just the pendulum extreme on the other side. That's kind of just what happens. So when you have a restrict in something, you have a huge pull in the other direction from people. It just makes, I think it's like a natural thing.
Well, same thing with like the Middle East. I mean, there's, like a lot of like little boys that get fucked over there and stuff because the sex is so repressed, and the poor women over there. I mean, they suffer rapes, and then if their family finds out, they kill them because they were raped. So it's
it's sad. I actually think a good consensual sexual like way to live could solve a lot of problems. Because when you're having sex with someone, like, you're listening, you're present. If you're having good sex anyways, like, you're listening to each other's needs. It's like mutual, it's consensual. You feel, I mean, it's so like, it's such a beautiful thing to have and to share.
That's why prostitution should be legal.
Well, yeah.
I mean, dude, like, Dan Bilzerian said this on the Joe Rogan podcast a while back, and, I just found it to be so true. Like, he said, that's probably the most honest interaction between a male and a female that you'll ever get. Because the man just wants to fuck, and the girl just wants the money, and they're completely upfront with each other about it. They talk exactly about what they want on both sides. They do the interaction, they get the money, and it's over. And there's no harm, no foul. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Both people leave satisfied.
Yeah.
You don't end up, in a fucked up marriage because of it.
Yeah, it sounds a little judgmental at first, but I mean, there's something to that. If that's what the woman wants to do. Now, there's other things like being held against your will, like obviously pimping.
Right, but that's why it should be legal.
Yeah, no, I know. And that's why there is all those, it would be way more safe. And
if it was legal, there'd be testing, there'd be, there wouldn't be pimps, there wouldn't be all of that bullshit. It would be held at, brothels or whatever. Yeah. And it would be organized and it would be, I think it would make if that was legal everywhere, it would just like cut down on divorce rates. It would cut down on violence towards women. It would cut down on rape. It would cut down on, little pervy 18-year-olds. Like, there's so many things that it would help. Mm-hmm. And I just think that for it not to be legal, I mean, fuck, dude. Like, we can have the lottery, but we can't have prostitution. Does that really make any sense?
Yeah, it's
you can
really
go
stupid.
Fuck a guy for no reason whatsoever. You can go fuck 20 guys for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you can't charge him $10. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. I just don't
I think we're
totally
creating,
baffles me.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. That's one of them. I think we're creating a very unhealthy sexual relationship within our culture.
Yeah. You can go massage someone for $20.
Yeah.
You can't go fuck them.
Yeah.
What's more intimate? I almost think a massage could be more intimate than a really quick sexual encounter.
Yeah.
Seriously, if you have an hour-long massage where someone's really rubbing you and getting deep in there versus 5 minutes of pleasure, like...
And I know some people may talk shit on prostitution, but I mean, back in the day, that was a respectable job to have, and women still to this day, there's escorts, there's jobs that women actually enjoy and they like. And I mean, I've seen TV series where it was about this girl who ended up resorting to prostitution because she lost her job, and she ended up loving it.
Yeah.
And her family found out and they were disgusted. What? And she's I actually like this. Like, I'm meeting, my trust for my girls is crazy. Like, I know I'm always safe. Yeah. If I'm uncomfortable with anything, I don't do it.
Well, and if you're beautiful,
and if I say something within a second, like, I have help, like, they actually enjoy the physical part of it too, because maybe we aren't supposed to be with one person for the rest of our life. Like, it's just sex, and if it was safe and consensual, I mean, it's fun. It's fun.
Think about how many marriages it would save too. Like, it, you know what I mean?
What do you mean by that?
Marriages, it would save? I'm
just curious.
If you're in an unhappy, unfulfilling marriage and you can just go get a prostitute every once in a while to fulfill your sexual needs, that could potentially save your marriage. I mean, because if you're happy with every other aspect of
as long as your wife's cool with it.
Of course. I guess, as long as your wife is
that's not
cool.
really realistic in most people in our culture. Like,
but if it became legal, it could become more realistic.
More accepted.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it might become more realistic, and that could be potentially
it's just
as a
a
thing.
culture thing.
Yeah, I just think that could be the thing that saves marriages. Like, dude, like if you're not happy in your relationship, and the only reason that you're not happy is because you're not able to fuck, but you're happy in every single other area. Yeah. Like, think about, like, just being able to just go have totally consensual, meaningless, or, you know what I mean, like, casual encounter sex that has no ties. The only tie is a swipe of the credit card or cash. I'm serious. I just think that would solve a lot of problems. Yeah. And it would be taxable. And we could use it to help our economy, you know? And women that are beautiful and nice and all that shit would make more money and have, you know what I mean, like, have cool careers that they could. It's just another job.
Bring jobs back to America, Trump.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No, just with the whole marriage thing that you're talking about, I agree with the sexual part, because there's been moments in our relationship where, say, I'm on my cycle and I'm feeling like my cycle, sometimes I'm fine and I still have a high sex drive. I still feel like good, you know, I'm flirty, whatever. But there are some months, dude, where I'm like, get the fuck away from me. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to anyone. I do not want to be touched or cuddled right now. And I've just thought about, like, during those times, because I don't know, I feel like you have a high sex drive pretty much all the time. I've thought about how, like, cool it would be for you to go get pleasure and have fun and have a good time with someone else during those times, because, you know, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with me for not wanting to do it. I just, like, sometimes I'm just so bitchy. It's just like a natural thing that I go through.
Yeah, dude. Like, if you just take a step back and really think about what it is, what sex is. Yeah. It is no different than washing your car or
eating
you know,
good food.
eating
Aubrey
good
Marcus always
food.
describes it as, you wouldn't be mad at your wife if she went to your guys' favorite restaurant and had her favorite meal without you, would you? And the guy's like, yeah, like, I think he said that he knew someone that was like that, but that's not the point.
No,
like,
Aubrey did.
Aubrey did?
Aubrey said there's probably people out there that
Oh,
would
that's
get
what he
mad.
said.
And there are, you know.
However, you need to work on that.
Yeah.
But that's the point. It's like, that is happiness to your partner, and I don't know. I think it's cool.
What?
Open relationships.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, but even like the idea of prostitution to me is almost even cooler. Well, not cooler. It's just as cool, because I just think that, like, okay, I don't want to be one of those people that advocate for everybody to have an open relationship just because it's something that we're doing. But if there was legal prostitution, that wouldn't necessarily need to be like the same kind of open relationship. It's just a transaction at that point.
Not if you're in a monogamous relationship, though.
No, I'm saying that okay, in my opinion, the hard part about open relationships is not necessarily just the sex.
Okay.
It's the
You're
connection.
afraid,
it's all of the. It's it's a compounding factor. It's like the idea of your partner wanting to possibly be in a relationship with somebody else. That's why it's difficult for most people, right?
Right.
So, but if you're able to remove all of that, and it's purely sex based, and it just costs $100, like, I just think that for the average marriage, that's the answer, dude. Like,
that's so funny.
What? I just like.
Well, wouldn't it just be
it
like?
Might be an epiphany. I don't know. I could fix this entire fucking country overnight.
But okay, let's just stop talking about prostitution for a second.
Yeah.
Don't you think open relationships would do that too? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm saying
I
that's
see.
the better answer than
Okay.
this. This
You're
is
saying this is a segue.
Okay. Yeah, an open relationship is way more evolved than going and fucking a prostitute. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like an open relationship is basically like everybody understanding, everybody, like, let's say in the perfect world, the entire country would have open relationships.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that works for everybody. I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to like advocate that everybody has an open relationship, but I'm just saying in a perfect world, there would be no jealousy. There would be people that only want other people to enjoy pleasure. There would be people that only want people to enjoy love. It would be abundant. People would realize that there's no cap on it. It wouldn't be suppressed like it is in this country, right?
To explore your feelings.
Yeah.
And not be shamed for them.
Right. So in this, like, let's say that tomorrow in this country, everybody was about, open relationships, and it was completely accepted by everyone. Well, that is the optimal idea, because everybody's truly happy. Everybody's not jealous. Everybody's truly wanting their partner to be happy. And everybody's, I mean, in this case, everybody also has a perfect diet. In this case, everybody also exercises. In this case, also, everybody follows their path.
Example.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So in this situation, people are able to follow their art for money, and there's no need for prostitution really, unless people want to do that.
Unless that's what you like.
Unless that's what you love.
Because that's a thing.
And yeah, so in this situation, like, this is the most evolved way of living, right? I mean, idealistically, it's like the
most wishful you could be.
Yeah, it's like a utopia.
Yeah. Sanctuary.
But we live in America, where sex is suppressed. You don't do it before you're married.
I know. I know someone like that.
And you get trapped in your shitty marriage until death do us part.
Dude,
so,
I am not trying to have sex with someone only after I've signed the deed to God. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea. Do not do that.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, in this country, I just basically think prostitution is the answer to everything. That and legalized weed.
That is the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I've just never logically thought about it, because I just think that, for one, it would make women have more power. Like, possibly. I mean, it could possibly give women more power, because You know, men would respect women more because it's
their,
so open and it's so accepted, and every dude bases everything they do off of getting laid. That's just a fact. I mean, if you become the CEO of a company, you did that because you want to fuck girls. And I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. That's like your evolutionary drive is to reproduce, and men have every single action they do is to peacock for women. Everything. It doesn't matter. I don't care how conscious you are, nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it's to be the best representation of life for someone to love you. That's like what it is, you know? So it's like if you can accept that, and then you realize that women have that, what you're looking for, then all of a sudden men start to respect women more, and they realize that, oh shit, they are higher, maybe. I mean, at least just as high. You know what I mean? And
I would hope so. Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, in this country, it's not that way.
And like, especially like slut shaming, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like, men are idolized for how many women they sleep with, but girls aren't. We're totally put down for that shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it shouldn't be like that.
No, it shouldn't.
Like, women want to have just as much sex as men do.
Yeah. And good sex too, goddammit. So start practicing, motherfuckers.
And they don't want to be, you know, owned and told what to do.
Yeah. No, I know.
Like, they want to be free and wild and the woman you fell in love with.
Yeah. And if you can charge for that, there's a market for it. That's all That's all I'm trying to say.
Jesus. Why you try to capitalize off everything? Not even capitalize. You just think.
I'm not trying to. I'm saying that you guys should be capitalizing on this. I'm trying to empower women. You know, like, I'm just saying.
Why do you always have a business model is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know.
Always propose a business model.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, of course.
Because money makes the world go around. But you know what does before money?
Sex.
Women.
Yeah,
I'm serious, dude. It's so funny to me because it's like, you know, in the age of outrage and all this stuff and feminism and all this shit, like, you gotta admit, most of the shitty things guys do are still for women. Women still run it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and we definitely have been suppressed in a lot of ways, and I think
it's because men have force.
Yeah, I mean, and they abuse that.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think we're coming to this place where women are finding their own things that they're good at, and men are realizing that, no, it's not just sex.
I'm just kidding.
It's nurturement and creativity and softness,
so
and
many
also
things,
so many things.
Yeah.
I mean, and it the individual, it also, you know, gets deeper than that. It depends, like, masculine and feminine natures in everyone, but I know what I was trying to go with.
But there is a huge biological difference.
Of course, but my point is, I mean, it's not necessarily to be as good as men. It's not what the feminist movement is about. It's to be our best selves too and respect each other.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about
like a real feminist.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. If you're talking about like the real feminists, but if you're talking about the ones with the short hair that are screaming at the top of their lungs with signs, like, those women aren't doing themselves a favor. That movement isn't healthy.
Okay, but that's just people. We're not talking about that.
I know.
I'm talking about the real feminist.
Yeah.
I mean, who is just about empowering women like you. I would totally like call you a feminist. You're a true feminist to me. You've always been. You've always been like a true feminist to me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a humanist. I want everybody, like,
that's what it like. But okay, but I think people get that twisted. Like, there's such a negative attachment to the word feminist. They don't realize that is just being a humanist too. It's just that, like, there's some things that need to change.
I don't even want to stop there. I'm not even a humanist. I'm a fucking universalist. Do you see
what I'm saying though?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I do see what you're saying, and I agree with you. I mean, but I feel the same way. I mean, I want women empowerment. I want, you know, black culture to be empowered. I want, you know what I mean, Mexican culture to be empowered. I just think that everybody needs to have an equal voice for this to work.
Everybody needs each other. I mean, we are all coming from the same thing.
Yeah, like in that
we're all related, dude. Yeah, dude. Like, literally, actually. It's kind of creepy. Yeah, we should get our DNA tested.
We did.
To see if we're a match, DNA wise.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Dude, I was a Neanderthal. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
I think it's Neanderthal. If you're
I
gonna
don't
be
know
a part
how
of
to-
that group, then you need to say it right.
Neanderthal.
I'm sure there's someone that's gonna say I'm wrong about that, but
I've heard it both ways.
yeah.
But
So, anyways,
I don't know how to say it.
well, I think that we're running out of time here.
Nah,
but
we're just blabbering about
yeah.
nothing.
So, women, vote yes to brothels, and
Is
we
that
could
even an
save.
option?
No, I don't think it is. We could save the world, though. At least America. But why stop there? Let's save the entire planet. I love you. Thanks for listening. You guys rock.
I love you.
Go to Justin Wren's Fight for the Forgotten. Donate some money. Right now, because of the Cash App, they're tripling your donations. They're not just doubling it, they're tripling it.
They're so cool.
If you donate $100 to Justin Wren's Fight for the Forgotten, it'll be a really good investment because it's $300. You can go around saying I donated $300 to Justin Wren's Fight for the Forgotten, but you're going to know that you only donated $100. So you can do that. But what I would recommend doing is donating $100 and then telling everybody that if you donate $100, they'll donate $300 on your behalf. And then they might be like, holy shit, I want to donate $300. I'll donate $100. So do it. Quick. Justin Wren's Fight for the Forgotten, fightfortheforgotten.org. You have anything else?
Nah, good night.
All right.
Peace.
We'll see you guys next week. Love ya.
Love ya.